If it were true, a conversation between fire and silence. You see, the trouble with questions like these, questions that tremble on the lips of the desperate and the devout, is that they are not asked for answers. No, they are asked for revelations. The question, if Christianity were true, would you follow it? It's not a trap, though many wear it like a snare. It is not an accusation, though some wield it like a weapon. It is in the deepest place, a yearning, a cry, a kind of holy dare. But let us not pretend, my friend. You who call yourself an atheist, let us not pretend that the Christian who asks you this question is not wrestling too. Because to ask this question honestly, one must first admit to doubt. You must admit to the haunting possibility that truth is not in your grasp, but above you, around you, within you, and always just beyond your reach. Let me speak plainly. I don't speak to convince you. No, I wouldn't do that. I speak because silence in this moment will be cowardice. I speak because if the gospel is true, it must be brave enough to knock on the door of unbelief and wait for an answer. Not with judgment, but with love. You see, my brother and my sisters, the one who says there is no God, I understand you far more than the church does. You look at this world and you do not see order. You see war. You see disease. You see children lying in the gutters and preachers flying in private planes. You see empty rituals, hollow words, pulpits filled with men who've never wept for people they claim to serve. You see hypocrisy, and you say, if this is God, I want no part of him. And let me say this with fire in my bones. I do not blame you, but I must tell you what I have seen. I have seen a man strung up on the cross, not for power, but for love. I've seen the God of heaven hang in shame between two thieves, whispering forgiveness with his final breath. I've seen a faith that does not demand perfection, but offers mercy. I've seen chains fall off, not with violence, but with truth. I've seen blind men see. I have seen proud men brought low, not by wrath, but by grace. So I ask you, not to corner you, not to convert you, but to meet you in that sacred space where humans ask, why? If it were true, this wild story of God who becomes man, who suffers, who dies, who rises, not in vengeance, but in peace. If it were true, would you follow? Not believe? Not agree? Follow. That word, follow, demands something from us. It's not passive. It's not theoretical. It is not sitting in pews while singing songs. We do not live. No. To follow means to move, to walk where he walks, to suffer where he suffers, to weep where he weeps. And maybe that is what you fear most. Because the truth is, many Christians do not follow Christ. They follow comfort. They follow tradition. They follow power, quote, in the language of faith. But Jesus, oh Jesus, he follows no one. He leads. He leads into places where we would never go on our own. Into the leper's house. Into the prostitute's tears. Into the graveyard of our pride. He leads us out of our self-made kingdoms into the terror and beautiful of surrender. So again, I ask, if it were true, would you follow? Now, I don't ask you to betray your mind, but God is not threatened by your questions. The God I speak of does not tremble before science or philosophy. He is not hiding in gaps we haven't yet filled. He is the God who walked among men, not in theory, but in history. But he is not merely history. He is present in the quiet breath of the addict who somehow made it one day more. In the eyes of a stranger who holds the door when you are ready to quit. And the woman who sings even though the cancer has taken her hair, her strength, and her days. And the black church that still gathers and still sings ain't gonna let nobody turn me around because it met Jesus in the middle of Jim Crow. He is there now. I know you have been wounded by religion. So have I. Religion has blood on his hands. Crusades, slavery, abuse, silence. And I will not lie and say those scars do not matter. They do. But I will say this. If you judge the music by the broken instrument, you will never hear the song. Jesus is not a broken instrument, but he plays through them. He plays through the people like me, stammering, stumbling, believing and doubting in the same breath. He plays through the church, yes, but also through your neighbor, through your dreams, through your questions, through your loneliness. He's playing right now. Do you hear him? So again, I ask, not as a preacher, not as a project, not as a believer, to a skeptic, but as one soul wounded. If it were true, if he really loves you, if he really rose, if he really calls you by name, would you follow? And if your answer is no, I still sit with you. I will not shout, I will not argue, but I will leave a space at the table because Jesus does. And that table, oh, that table is wide. It has room for the doubter, for the broken, for the one who says, I want to believe. Help my unbelief. It has room for the atheist who still cannot stop asking why he's crying when he hears Amazing Grace. So, I'll leave you with this. I do not follow Jesus Christ because I have all the answer. I follow him because when I was lost, he did not wait for me to find him. He came, he called, and he stayed. Now, if that were true, wouldn't you want to follow too? Amen. 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 Thank you, my brothers and sisters. I'll see you next time. Have a blessed day.